the big elephant quite often in the room is, of course, policy. How can we develop policy that incentivizes open data, and to what extent do we need policy in order to really provide that kind of impetus and also consistency as it relates to making data open? We get asked on regular basis, what should be the ingredients of policy? How should we go about making policies as it relates to open data? How do we encourage access to privately held data without policies or with policies? What is the role of government? Do we need to develop policies at the sector base or more horizontal and vertical as well? And so those are the questions that we hope to address today, because we felt that those questions are recurrent and that many in the space are frankly at search for answers.
And so when I'm thinking about policy making, I think often about how are we influencing? Because policy making is, as you know, all about the people. It's about building relationships and it's about building trust. And if ever there's something that is so trusted, it is open data, because that is where we can make impact and solve some of the pressing problems that we're facing today.
We need to make sure we can technically or practically get involved in the global data policy making that is going on. We need forcefully collaboration, because collaborating with all those big blocks will, first of all, put our case on the table.
It's a concept of common European data space, a place where the data can flow between different sectors, between different countries and different categories of data holders. The data will know where to go in terms of technology. As a result of this work on the data space, you will have a lot of data, high quality data, and you will have also technical tools to deal with the data. So we are trying to have this really complete look at the data landscape.
We see clearly that your countries there, your Western countries or Asia or European Union, you are making very great strides, enlarging the gap that exists between your context and our context, and putting us absolutely in a state of being recolonized again in a domain, in a sector that is where every advance is an abyssal one.
I see sharing in terms of knowledge and culture, research and all of those things, about sharing for generosity. And I think today we're also seeing, sharing for profit. How are we differentiating some of that?
So a lot of people think when we say data is the new oil, data is not the new oil. There's so much difference between oil and data. We should never compare data to oil. Data is the new code. So we need to think that for these AI algorithms, data serves as a purpose of code. 99% of what we care is data and data preparation. But usually this takes less than 1% of the credit. Majority of the credit goes to the person that goes and train the algorithms and run the algorithms. Majority of the work happens on the data and the data preparation, data collection, or is that the work? But we don't give, we take that for granted, and we don't give enough credit to that. There is a huge amount of power in open data, but part of the problem is we do not give enough credit. There's no incentives to open data sets.
There is a clear and really urgent need to increase the efficiency in the healthcare system. And applying data insights can help optimize the allocation of healthcare spending. Of course, facilitate a more preventive, maybe based model, encourage and enable a safe management of chronic illness, and for sure, maybe ensure also a fair prioritization of health resources for in the directions that are of greatest health burden.
In terms of the business case, I think the business case isn't just to be a data provider, it is to be an insight provider, right? We wanted to be part of the insight creation process.
We face a patchwork of laws and regulations in this area that introduce highly complex and fragmented standards all around the globe. And even worse, we are facing increasing restrictions to transfer data across borders. Well, this is not sustainable. Data has no frontier, data is kind of global. So it's really time to reopen the dialogue in this respect to develop common standards on privacy, data, and technology. And then the second thought that I wanted to put on the table is that if you want to build trust in the open data ecosystem, obviously we need to invest in technology, but also in certifications, trust marks, and seals.
A social impact program can generate value for the corporation. So in order to identify how we were creating value for our company, we developed a framework called the 4M framework, which identifies 4 key drivers to value creation. And incidentally, it's very similar to the GovLab's 9R framework as well. But essentially the 4M framework identifies 4 key drivers of value creation, and that's mission, methods, messaging, and monetization. If data can solve an issue, but you're not using it, that's a huge opportunity cost.